Massive, massive, massive news on a Friday night for the Auburn Tigers. AnQuon Fegans, Eric Winters staying with Auburn.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on in to Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Wanted to hop on for just a few minutes here to respond to some big news. We speculated it, and they've been somewhat cryptic on social media over the last week or so, but they make it official. They announced together, which is interesting. In this, college football world, it's all about the individual, all about the self. That's not what we're seeing here. Eric Winters and New Boy Fegans announcing together with the Auburn football official Instagram account, a graphic of both of them together, and the caption on it says "Run it back," or "Back at it," excuse me, which is great. I mean, we talked about that young defensive core that seems very, very important to this staff. I mean, let's just start at the front and go towards the back. Malik Autry and Jordan Crawford, we've heard from them. The linebacker group of Xavier Atkins, who I think they brought back to be a captain. He's going to represent Auburn at media days. The messaging around Auburn will be around Xavier Atkins. But the young core of DeMarcus Riddick, Elijah Melendez, Bryce Diaz, and now Eric Winters, New Boy Fegans, and that leads me to think Blake Woodby could be soon. I just have a hard time believing that Blake Woodby's not a part of this young defensive core that we're going to see kind of usher Auburn into this new era under Alex Golesh on the defensive side of the football, which is super, super fun. Super, super exciting. New Boy, one of three freshmen that played in all 12 games. AnQuon Fegans played in 12 games. Eric Winters played in 12 games. Then Elijah Melendez played in 12 games. And so all of those guys coming back, which is a big deal. If you care about Pro Football Focus and their numbers, which I think they're hit or miss, and I think some positions are better than others, people are asking official. Hawk is asking official. Yeah, it's Auburn Football posted it. There's been several people now citing that as it being official. So yes, very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. If you care about Pro Football Focus numbers, Eric Winters second on the team defensively. Only Robert Woodyard was higher. Of course, Robert Woodyard portaling, but 78.8 played in all 12 games, 258 total snaps. Just a solid player, a solid all-around player. And of course, Fegans. Same thing. I mean, Eric Winters, even when we saw him early in the season, it's just like he always was around the football. Awesome stuff. Big news. All right, so some other things happening today. This is the list. This is from 247. Clemente posted this. This is the list of Auburn players who are officially in the portal. And I don't want to get too deep in this, but I do think it's a little interesting. Cam Coleman, Kinsley Falston, Antonio Coleman, Preston Howard, Jamonta Waller, Rayon Strader, Damari Austin, which is expected, Perry Thompson, Hollis Davidson, DeAndre Carter, which DeAndre Carter is interesting because some people have talked about him possibly coming back. Horatio Fields, Amon Lane Gaines, Favor Edwin, Jackson Arnold, Towns Magoo, Kayan Lee, Jay Crawford, Robert Woodyard, and Seth Wilfred. Something that's kind of interesting, like Noah Morris Williams on there. Could be reading into it too much. Not saying anything. I just think that's interesting. I noticed that he wasn't on there. Another thing that happened today, Chris Hummer reporting that Howard linebacker Jaquavian Smith has set a pair of visits, Auburn and Arkansas. And let's just remember, Auburn hired Howard's head coach to be part of this team. So Jaquavian Smith at linebacker could be interesting. You look at what we just talked about, that young defensive core Is linebacker really a position of need? No, but I do think they'll add one more. So could it be Jaquavian Smith? It possibly could be. It possibly could be. ESPN has him as a sophomore. I don't think they've updated yet, so he'd be a junior. Doesn't look like he has a ton of stats, but yeah, we'll take that for what it's worth. And then Auburn also offered Braden Nelson, who's an offensive lineman from North Texas. And I feel weird saying this, but he followed me on Twitter. So that's usually a good sign. But we'll see. We'll see what happens on that. Kansas State offensive tackle Devin Voss will be in Auburn this weekend for an official visit. And I heard his name this morning. And so I texted Christian Rao, who is our Locked On Kansas State host. And I said, what do you think about Voss? And he said, fringe starter, solid dude. He shifted over from defensive line, was a big part of fixing K-State's offensive line in the running game the second half of the season. Made his first start in early October, was a 3-star out of Florida. Chris Kleiman, the former coach, gave him multiple shout-outs in the past for playing for the name on the front of the jersey. Team dude. So pretty good scouting report there for Devin Voss. So those are things happening there. All right, I want to take a quick break. I'm not going to go live too long, but I'll answer some of y'all's questions. I've already seen a few of you guys answer some good ones. Come back if you've already asked a question and it hasn't been addressed by somebody in the chat, or you want me to answer it, or it just hasn't been addressed at all. Copy and paste it in there. We'll tackle those in just a moment, because if you're asking the question, somebody watching or listening later has probably got that same question. So that's next, right here, Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Live betting, the name of the game with FanDuel. And they also have NBA Happy Hour every Friday. It's your official pregame. It's a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. If you're watching this live, we just missed it, but that's okay. Before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during the NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's the NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets. It doesn't matter if it's for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, theater, comedy shows. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the best place. It's the easiest app to use. You can buy tickets in just 2 or 3 taps. And if you also just need more information about a specific venue or a specific event, it's all there inside the app as well. There's no reason for you to leave. So use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase today. That is the Game Time app. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. All right. JJ says Byron Brown status says announcement expected soon. Status, like, did he post it on Twitter? Is that what that means? Because that'd be awesome. I'm not expecting him to wait a long time. Yeah, let me know where he posted that. That'd be great. It's not on his Twitter. Let's see. Is Robbie Ashford playing right now? Cool. That's awesome. Chase asking, did Oklahoma State lineman commit? No, he arrived on campus today, and I'm blanking on his name. I've read and watched so many guys today. What is his name? Oklahoma State tackle transfer. Is it Grant? Grant Segrin is his name. He is not committed yet. No. Staff seems to like him, though, for sure. Does anyone have any intel on Towns McGoo? I haven't heard anything since early in the year. He is in the portal. He announced it a few weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, that he was intending to enter the portal. And then as soon as he entered, he screenshotted the email saying, hey, you're officially in the portal. And he posted it on socials. So he is looking elsewhere. Towns Magoo. Dre Carter is interesting. Sturge was asking about Dre Carter. Dre Carter, similar path, right? News broke that he's expected to enter the portal. And then we heard rumbling, chatter, sourcing that, hey, hold on. Maybe there's a chance that he comes back. But he's officially in the portal. Like, he's officially in the portal as we speak. He entered his name earlier today. So take that for what it's worth. Jerry Swiss, in all caps, says, it's like you're yelling, Jerry. I heard Arkansas State defensive tackle Cody Ziegler is coming on a visit. I'm really hoping he joins the team. From what I've seen from him, he's pretty good. So I think there's a few notes from this. Yeah, I've heard his name as well. It's very clear, based on the visits and the reported, reaching outs and to schedule visits. Auburn is making defensive line a priority and offensive line a priority. No question. It does seem like they're going for the higher rated defensive linemen. And then an offensive line, I do think they're going more on scheme fit. So there you go. Black Zackerby, hilarious, says, about how many players do you think we're going to have to get on the defensive side? I mean, let's go through this together. So on the defensive line, we lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We lost 7, and we signed 2. We signed 2 freshmen, Corey Wells and Tavion Branch. So that's a difference of 5. At edge, we lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We lost 5. We signed 1. We signed Chris Wells. So that's 9 total. At linebacker, we lost 2, Robert Woodyard and Caleb Wheatland. We signed 3 freshmen. So that's minus. So we're back at 8. And then at defensive back, we lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we signed 2. So that's 6-ish. So 15, 14. If you kept the scholarship numbers the exact same, be 14 or 15 on defense. That's just if you replace what you lost from a bodies standpoint. Is there strategy on, do you spend more to get better guys in theory, and then you have less roster spots filled or scholarships filled until you want to offer some guys after spring? Sure. It's a good strategy too, but just based off of what we know, there you go. Grant Segrin. Yes. Thank y'all. Slowly catching up. All right. So this has been a thing I've seen all day. Liam bringing this up, and we talked about this on a live earlier today on 247. I saw Byron Brown was 100% for Auburn, but AK if that's true. So it says that, but that's not, I think people are confused on what that 100% is. So that is 247 riders can put in a crystal ball, and it measures the confidence in the prediction. And so there is one person who put in a crystal ball for Byron Brown. And so that is saying 100% of the crystal balls are for Byron Brown to Auburn. I hope that clears it up. That's not them saying that he's signed with Auburn. They think he is. And for the record, I think he will be too. And it would be I think it'd be kind of a crazy upset, and it'd be bad if he didn't. But yeah, there you go. Alan asked, how many teams have hit on a big portal guy? I don't know about many. You're talking about like this cycle? I haven't seen, like, I think Georgia Southern had a guy because they ranked like first in the portal class rankings, but I don't think anyone has really like signed anyone. So once again, for folks, like, I've seen people say they're disappointed in Golesh or whatever, like, okay, like, well, one, I'm not telling you what to do. You can do whatever you want. But what I would recommend is, okay, look at Auburn's situation. Like, okay, a bunch of guys entered the portal and nobody has signed, but their visit set up. And then zoom out and compare Auburn's situation to what's happening across college football. And that is, everybody's losing guys. Everybody's setting up visits. And everybody's getting traction for different guys. It's the same thing. So let's just be Careful with all of this. The Auburnator asks, Zach, do you think we get Keyshawn Singleton? I do. If I had to guess where Keyshawn Singleton went, I think he follows Alex Golesh to Auburn. For folks who don't know, Keyshawn Singleton is a USF wide receiver. Good question. Good question. Matthew said, I thought Crawford was staying. So we've got a few Crawfords. Jordan Crawford, the defensive lineman, is staying. Kieran Crawford, the edge, he's going to the NFL draft. And then Jay Crawford, the corner, is in the portal. So Crawford is staying. Crawford's also going to the draft, and Crawford also is in the portal. So that could be confusing. I get that. But Jordan Crawford, the defensive tackle, is staying. What's my favorite sports card I own? I'll go get it for you. Hold on. I'll show you. I've always hoped somebody would ask me this. It is out of Sage. It's numbered to 5. It is a triple auto of Cam Newton, Nick Fairley, and Mario Fannin. BGS 9.5. All the autos graded a 10. And if you see there, it's numbered to 5. There's only 5 of them. Thank you for asking, Blake Clark. Thank you for asking. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever asked me. Pops. Zach, do you think they will leave a decent amount of these spots open to bring in high school recruits? So the way high school recruiting is now, Pops, is most of this happens during the early signing window. This isn't like the old days where you sign guys on National Signing Day in early February. So if you leave spots open, like there's not really another window to add high school guys. Now, what I do think will happen is I think a lot of teams, there's over 2,000 guys in the portal right now. Like there's just been mass exodus, and there's not enough roster spots at major schools for all of these kids to be like in a competitive environment. So what I'm predicting happens, and look, I've been wrong about the urgency of people signing in this window for the last 2 years. So seriously, take it for what it's worth. But what I'm betting happens is you're going to see several schools go into spring practice with a few spots open. And with those spots, Pops, to your point, you could get a late addition in the high school class. Or if somebody wants to reclassify from the 2027 class to the 2026 class at the last second, and maybe it surprises some folks or something. Or let's say one of your depth guys or starter gets hurt at a certain position, tears his ACL or something, where it's like his availability for the season's questioned. I don't think all of these guys in the portal are going to find a home. I think some of these guys are going to get to the point where, oh no, I waited too long, and it's best for me to just wait and see what happens across the landscape of college football and make my decision after spring. So I don't think they'll leave a decent amount of spots open for high school, but I don't think they'll fill the roster up 100% going into spring. That is my guess. John Smith, do I collect Pokemon cards? I do. Follow Auburn Cards on Instagram. I post a lot of stuff there. Jason says, I've seen Cam has already signed with Ohio State. I've seen a lot of people say that. That's not true. That's a fake report. I don't know where that fake report came from. I've seen a lot of people say that he signed with Ohio State. He has not signed anywhere. It was reported that he's expected to visit Texas, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, and Alabama is what I've seen. But no, he has not signed anywhere yet. I mean, nobody of note has signed anywhere, not just at all, like anywhere. So, I mean, it's almost unusual if you had somebody signed. So, cool. Awesome. So wanted to hop on for a second, celebrate the AnQuon Fegans, Eric Winters news just to circle back. It's awesome. Awesome. Because of that core, that young defensive core. So next up, I think Blake Woodby. Expect him. And then I said this when Daryl and I went live earlier today. Jared Smith, the rising true sophomore edge, is I think he's the most important guy that they've got to lock in next as far as returning players. I think Jared Smith is a big deal for a couple reasons. One, I think your biggest jump in development, typically, I think that's been skewed a little bit from the mobility of college football with guys not staying. It's tougher to get developed. But typically, your biggest jump in development is from your freshman year to your sophomore year. That's why I think Malik Autry, Jordan Crawford, Eric Winters, New Boy Fegans, Elijah Melendez, Bryce Diaz, all of those guys who played well as freshmen coming back. That jump from freshman to sophomore year, substantial. Jared Smith, who physically did not look like a freshman last year and held his own when he was subbing in for Auburn's really solid edge room last year. I think one, just the natural step that he's going to have is big. The other aspect of it is you're already going to have to spend a pretty penny on revamping this edge room because look, the edge / defensive ends on this roster, Jared Smith. Okay. We feel good about him. Joe Phillips. What do we know about Joe Phillips? Really solid out of high school. But like we don't know anything about Joe Phillips as an Auburn player. JJ Falk, exciting. His brother's really good. Redshirted last year. We'll see how he develops as a player. And then Chris Wells, which I don't think he plays his first 2 seasons. I think he was an addition to get Corey Wells, his brother, to flip on early signing day. So that hedge defensive end room, you've got to keep Jared Smith. I think Jared Smith is super important. So there we go. Cyclone saying, what about the running back room coming back? We've not heard anything one way or the other about the running back room, which typically means it's good. Jeremiah Cobb, Darrell Robinson, Omar Mabson, Alvin Henderson, all of those guys haven't heard anything. What I am predicting, and keep in mind, they went into the season last year with these 4 guys plus Alvin Henderson. So they had 5 scholarship backs. And of course, Damari. There was all that stuff with him and Freeze and the, whatever. So can you add a guy without there being a ripple effect? I think is it Jaheim White, the running back from West Virginia? I'd be a little surprised. If he did not come to Auburn. I think he's going to follow Larry Porter from West Virginia to Auburn. In fact, my folks on West Virginia side, Mountaineer Paul, came on the show to talk about it, the host of Locked On West Virginia, said as soon as, even before the Larry Porter thing, he was hearing, Larry Porter's going to Auburn and he's going to take, White with him. Okay, great. So he came on, go check that show out. We talk a lot about him as a player. He'll come back on if that were to happen. I just wonder if everybody's okay if that happens and you're fine with the running back room of Cobb, Robinson, Mabson, Henderson, and White. That'd be an awesome running back room. Gosh, that'd be awesome. So we'll see. I kind of expected Alvin to portal, if I'm being 100% honest, not because of anything. He didn't really get a shot, but it's a different coaching staff. And I've been told, and other people have been told, that this coaching staff really likes Alvin Henderson, which could be cool, which would be good. All right, let's wrap it up with this question because I think it's going to be good. Casey asks, are we going to be okay? Yes. Yes, we are. Have a great Friday night, everybody. I'm going to try to put up a show tomorrow before the Auburn basketball game, seeing if we hear any more info and visits that are scheduled, kind of bring those to you. So please like the video, please subscribe. And if you're tuned in on audio, please subscribe, leave us a review. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.